my name is Melissa LeSane, and I'm a marriage and family therapist associate, and I have the pleasure of talking to you about non-monogamy. It's a topic that I'm really passionate about both in my professional and personal life, and so I hope that I can share some good stuff with you today. Monogamy versus non-monogamy is often how people approach this topic, deciding what's right, what's best, what's true. Non-monogamy, monogamy, which one should we do, which one should we be, what fits us best, what's going to help us, what's going to ruin us, is often how the conversation goes. And it can feel like a never-ending loop of confusion, resulting in feeling stuck or defeated. So when I talk about non-monogamy, I often get questions about particulars like jealousy, safer sex practices, how to find partners, negotiating time, things like that. And I really enjoy addressing those issues because those are things that often people feel are stressing them and stressing the relationship on a day-to-day basis. But I also really enjoy talking about broader kind of relationship concepts that apply to not just non-monogamy, but any type of relationship, monogamy or whatever you identify as your relationship structure. So instead of cycling through the confusion loop and trying to figure out what's best, either monogamy or non-monogamy, or getting stuck on the kind of day-to-day issues within your relationship, I want to present some broader relationship concepts that are helpful for any type of relationship, and for whether you choose to be monogamous or non-monogamous. The first idea is that you get to decide and create what the relationship feels like and looks like. Not your mom, not your dad, not your family, not the industry, not your friends, not your community or society, and you get to choose what your relationship looks like. And that can be monogamous, that can be non-monogamous, that can be open, that can be whatever. The choices and the options are infinite, and it can have a label, it cannot have a label. I think sometimes we get stuck on, again, calling ourselves monogamous or non-monogamous, but it's really about what works for you and what works for your relationship. So the second idea is to prepare for instead of defend against challenging times in the relationship. And challenging times can look like, or can often look like, times of grief, conflict, individual differences. We often can develop rigid stories about ourselves and our relationships and expectations for ourselves, for our partner or partners in our relationships based off of past relationship experiences. And we do this in a way, whether it's intentionally or not intentionally, to protect ourselves, but oftentimes it can leave us a little emotionally unavailable or disconnected. So instead of holding tight onto these unhelpful stories and rigid expectations in our relationships, it's helpful instead to prepare for challenging times in the relationship by talking to our partners. Well, first, it's helpful to reflect within ourselves how we might be defending in our relationships instead of preparing for these challenging times, and also to talk to our partner or our partners about this and how we can prepare for these challenging times, and the things that we can do to the ways that we can respond. Versus kind of just trying to wing it when they come up. The third idea is the faucet versus light switch concept. Think of sharing the sensitive parts of yourself with others more as a faucet than a light switch. Sensitive parts can be things like trust, vulnerability, and boundaries, and too much too soon can feel scary and overwhelming, and not enough can leave us feeling disconnected and even lonely. If we think about sharing these sensitive parts of ourselves as a faucet, then we're able to control how much, under what situations or circumstances, and with whom we share these sensitive parts with, versus a light switch where it's kind of more of an all or nothing situation. So with the faucet concept, we can take our time and trust and be vulnerable with people in a way that makes us feel safe. So the fourth idea is embracing nuance and change and trying on curiosity and creativity. Oftentimes especially in times of conflict or disagreement or individual differences, our conversation is often about this or that, right or wrong. It's the black and white thinking that leaves us feeling stuck. We often want to take a strong stance about what we feel is right or against what our partner feels is right, and not leaving any space for each other's experiences. This can often lead to disconnection and cutoff. So a good question to ask during these times is, can I relax for a moment and see another side to this, see another perspective to this? Not as rationalizing, but staying in the present moment and staying open to what is different other than my experience. The fifth idea is finding opportunities for connection. Oftentimes when we're in conflict with our partners, it's easy to shut down or disconnect or kind of distance ourselves because of the emotional place that we're in with our partners. And that's okay. Take care of yourself. And moments of solitude can be helpful. But also I encourage to find opportunities to connect even in the smallest way during conflict. Even though we tend to kind of shut down or disconnect, a lot of us often inside feel really the desire to stay connected to our partners, but maybe feel too vulnerable to say that or too upset to maintain that. But if we can find even the smallest moments to stay connected, it can be helpful to get us through these challenging times. And that can look and sound like something as simple as, hey, and it's not always this easy, but something like, you know what, I really want to stay connected to you, but I really need some space, and so maybe we can come back to this later and talk about it. But just something that can reassure each other and the relationship that I'm not leaving, I'm here, I'm committed, like I want to make this work, but I need a break right now. So like I said, these 5 broader concepts are helpful for whatever type of relationship that you decide feels right for you, whether it's monogamous or non-monogamous. Although tempting, I think it's less about whether you decide to be monogamous or non-monogamous, and more about what works best for you and your partner or partners. Check in with yourself. Get a sense of what your desires are, what your needs are, what your goals are, what relationship looks like to you, what your expectations are, what your fears are. Ask yourself, what does it mean to me to be monogamous? What does it mean to me to be non-monogamous? What does it mean to me to be in a relationship? And what do I expect from my partner? Share and talk about the things that you come up with and that your partner might come up with when reflecting on yourself and what it means to be in a relationship. Take your time. It's not about the destination. It's about the journey. Take breaks when needed. It doesn't have to be serious. Conversation about this can be humorous and playful too. Distinguish what is fantasy, what is conversation versus a call to action, which sometimes can leave us feeling a little bit scared. If we share a part of ourselves, we might think that our partners may feel like that's a call to action and something that we actually want to happen in the present moment. Some helpful communication tips. I statements. You may or may have not heard about I statements, but it's essentially talking about yourself and keeping your communication focused on your own feelings and your own experience versus talking about your partner and making assumptions or making claims about your partner. So like, I am feeling this way when this happens versus you make me feel this way when you do this to me. So that kind of alleviates a little bit of the tension in the communication where your partner or partners might feel attacked or placing blame, and it helps to communicate your experience. It's okay to create intentional time to talk about things. It doesn't always have to be spontaneous. It doesn't always have to be lengthy. Again, I mentioned this, take breaks when you need to. One thing that can be helpful for partners of performers can be to educate themselves about the industry, about the work that their partners do, and familiarize themselves with the current issues that impact performers today. This can be from your partner or from outside resources, but education around our partner's work can encourage empathy towards our partners and can be a point for connection with each other and supporting each other. Another helpful tip for partners of performers is to explore attitudes, ideas, beliefs around adult industry performers, around the adult industry, and what it means to be in relationship with somebody who is a performer. Well-meaning people can enter relationships with someone who is a performer and later ends up not working. Another tip is to try things on and take small risks. Explore what works for you, what you like, what you might be interested in. Try new things, take baby steps, or jump right in, but do it together. Be intentional about it. Rules can be helpful, but also stay flexible and let them be your guide. And I think the key is, no matter if you take baby steps or you jump right in, is to keep checking in with each other. And last is utilize community and support. And oftentimes this can be difficult to find, but there are online communities around non-monogamy. There are online personalities who share their stories about non-monogamy. There's lots of resources, books and YouTube videos, and sex-positive therapists can also be a great resource when exploring or navigating non-monogamy or any other type of relationship with your partner or partners. And sometimes creating your own community can be helpful too. So I end with the reminder that you have the power to create whatever type of relationship that feels good for you and feels right for you. It can be helpful to know the statistics and to know the stories and to know the risks of either type of relationship, but hold it as just information. Trust yourself and find support.